Okay.
do it.
Yeah, you were saying about just digesting all of what I was sharing there.
Yeah, it's for me, I was just saying there's always so much going on in life, and there are times when you're like in superhero mode, just like batting everything off, and it feels really good. But it also feels good when you just when I like allow myself the space to just not not do it, like not be that superhero right now. Sometimes you're like the mom, and then sometimes you're the child, and you just want to be taken care of, and that's completely fine. I feel like sometimes, like as a mom, um, we get like, we feel such a sense of pride for like having done something or being the one to do it or achieve it or something like, along those lines, that it feels strange when it's done for you almost. And I feel like this season, this week, well, with my birthday and everything happening, I've had so many opportunities to just have things done for me and get so comfortable with that it's just felt really good to
Yeah,
be in that space. Yeah, where I don't have to be the one to take care of it. It's taken care of.
that's part of the cohesion too, that we don't realize that we are premeditatively forced into spaces where that would be a strange otherworldly thing, where we're not living in that reciprocity. That is our history. That is generational history. That is ethnic history. That is human development history. With all psychological developmental kindness attached. It's, you're learning your power, you're learning your ability to be and support and relate yourself to another self. And so it's such a beautiful thing when you do get to a place where you realize that you're living in the we tense, in the we progressive positive pulsation and tense of the way you express yourself and the way you demonstrate your care. That the I forgot the name of the actress. She's the one who the star of She's Got to Have It. You know that show, right?
No, I don't remember. I'm not sure.
No, She's Got to Have It. Oh my God, you would love that. Anyway, whatever. So she's an actress, and it's a Spike Lee film.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Netflix. And it was done in the 80s, and then he redid it. It was done as a movie, and then he did it as a series in recently. Anyway, the actress herself in real life was doing an interview with her husband, and they were talking about like challenges of marriage or whatever they were asking them, and they were just like, no, like when you get to a place of being so good at your self-care that it's like you're just sharing your self-care with another person. It's like if I'm making a cup of tea for me, I'm just like, would you like a cup of tea as well with me? Like, because myself needs a cup of tea. Does yourself need a cup of tea? Like, we're just sharing self-caring. And
Yeah.
you just have self-care for two instead of self-care for one. So it's more self-care. And that's the root of their relationship. And I was like, that is a beautiful way to articulate it and express it and live and give thanks for your individual journeys that you would align so well to give so much effective practice to learning the vessel that you are, not what you thought you'd be, not what people think, not the false projection that we are again coerced into being, but what you really have the capacity for, who you really are, what you really have the means for, again, in this season and in life in general.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
I have a client in China. She's a Saint Lucian who's studying in China, and it's a pro-safe client, and she's doing research on sexual violence, and I've been helping her through certain dynamics of it. And so she's navigating the effects of the research on her. We were talking about it yesterday, and I'm also in a space where I want to stop doing pro-safe work, which I'm the co-founder of. Like, I'm just so tired. I'm just like, I want to stop everything. and then like life will send her to call me yesterday morning. It's like the minions are coming through, like, wait, we know you're saturated, but wait. So I see you live. I appreciate all of you, and I'm speaking. I know everybody can hear me in the network when I say thank you so much for showing up. I'm of course saying that to you, but anyway, I was just reminding her, like, when I tell her to trust the process, that this is why people don't do sexual violence research, because of the effect that it has on us. This is why people don't do trauma research. This is why people don't have difficult and crucial conversations. There's that book, Crucial Conversations. Because it's taxing, because it holds us accountable, because it shows us ourselves in ways that hurt before they heal, and hurt while they're healing. So I was just telling her, reminding her that, but you are here though. You are navigating. You're navigating the terror and the horror of it anyway. You're pushing through anyway. You're breathing. You're resting. You're making love and merging to the dynamics of this healing journey. And that's the integrity, as in the strength of being human. That is the capacity of being human and showing up. Yeah. Thank you, Susan. He's like, yeah, hallelujah. That's my nenin. A word.
Oh my gosh. I love that self-care. The first thing that you mentioned about the sharing your self-care. I had a moment last night, and this is the first time in so long that I've gotten to do that. And I have never been so happy to do that as I was last night. When I got Soleil ready for bed, I had a little bit of time, and I had just washed his hair, but I was like, do I style it now? Do I just want to put it in some big protective plaits or something? But I laid down, I sat in his bed and rested his head in my lap, and I was like finger combing through his hair and just putting them in big plaits and singing to him. I was singing to him, and I sang the song that I used to use to put him to sleep when he was a newborn, and he just started, he had this huge grin on his face, I guess remembering the song from 3 years ago. And it made me happy to just do it. And it made me even happier to see him enjoy it. But I feel like it's definitely a testament to the type of care that I've been taking of myself lately. Because, I've mentioned to you that I've really been upping my self-care practices. I take Wednesday nights and Saturday nights, and I do a whole facial at home, steam my face, do a mask and everything. And I make sure to just, even if I don't do anything, put some attention on myself, file my nails if it's, chipped or something, make sure that I eat something that I like today, like cook something nice for myself today, have some ginger tea, drink more water. I've been drinking so much more water and I'm so happy. But just being, some of these have really become non-negotiables for me, which is awesome, because I remember as a teenager,
That is what we are here for.
Yeah. As a teenager, I would not go a Sunday without giving myself a facial. I would, and it was because it was fun for me. It was what I really wanted to do on weekends. Like, I couldn't wait for school to be done on a Friday from like 7 years old. I would just paint my fingernails from Friday night. Saturday, I would take it off and do it over.
For those who are on the podcast, you have to definitely, we have to timestamp this for you. I think we'll say it's like 10 minutes in on the YouTube. Like, you have to see you have to see the action to what I just did, because it's not just about the That's where the visual and the senses, that's why life gave us everything. They gave us sound, sight, hair, taste, everything.
Every part of the experience, it was just fun for me.
Yeah.
And I would do it every weekend, even if I know on Monday morning my mother would be like, hurry up and take off that nail polish for you to go to school. Sometimes I ended up going to school with the nail polish and getting in trouble, but I was just really into that stuff. And there was something that you mentioned on one of the lives. Ooh, he's moving the party to this room.
Countdown has begun.
You mentioned on one of the lives. So I had an experience when I was in my teens. Like I mentioned to you, I was really into beauty stuff. And there was one day that I made a comment about something, and somebody told me, Wazan, you're really shallow. And I've spent years since that moment trying to prove to myself that I'm not shallow. And you mentioned something on the live that, there's nothing wrong with the shallowness. Like, there's the shallowness and the depth. They're like side by side. You get through the shallow part of the water to get to the depth. And it made me realize that I had to nurture those parts of myself that I felt were shallow, like the part of me that just wanted to spend all my birthday money on nail polish and wax and other beauty treatments. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't even, it doesn't say anything about me. That's what I need. That's my currency. Like, I have to do this for myself. I can do whatever else I'm doing in the world, but this, when I'm in my room alone on a Wednesday night, that's what I'm doing.
My room is dancing. Like, my fins are like flapping. I'm pulsating at a high rate right now. Yes. Oh, yes. That is your currency. That is your exchange rate. That is your commanding, demanding presence, your emission, your frequency, your broadcast. I am so thankful that you heard that when I said it, that you felt it, and that you really saw and acknowledge and appreciate the extent to which you have always been living that way. You're just reaffirming it. I just said it again in a way at a time where you were just like, oh yeah, yes. I am that. I am. See what I did there?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that you're living in that I am space, and that pulsation of ownership and belonging to self, capital S and lowercase. And that's what the oppressive entity doesn't bargain for, is when we can make love to the dynamics of the superficial and the shallow and the depth at the same time, where we live in the paradox. If we didn't have shallow waters, we wouldn't have an island to live on. Yeah. And if you really want to study the ocean, there are different depths within the deepest part of the ocean. There are still shallow parts. And if you happen to know the song In the Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper from A Star Is Born,
I have to look it up.
It says, in the shallow, we're far from the shallow now. And I really want you to pay attention to that line, especially if you know the fullness of the movie and all that they went through. Then really pay attention to that line, because it's saying, it really speaks to the depth and dynamics of intimacy and the relationship, that even where a relationship is breaking apart and we are on the verge of death and we face death, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, I apologize. But if you have, even when we face death and addiction and addiction to distance in relationships, where we seem stuck in a shallow place in the relationship, it still leaves us trapped in the depth of that shallowness and the inability to connect in real raw ways. So if we reframe it, we have a lifetime here on earth. It's not one day they give us, and if they give you one day, then you're not here, then it doesn't matter anymore because you're not here. But if you're here, if you're here, then do make love to the shallow parts. And then of course I'm going to take it sexually and sensually. When you are in the shallow parts of the relationship, when you're just meeting someone, and it's like the first kiss, or even the first kiss in a contextual moment where you just have like a little dry kiss, pecking, short pulsations of, and then when it becomes deeper, wetter, wilder, where you are kissing around the boundaries of a certain area, and then you go deeper when you are facing the fact that the whole body is an erogenous zone. If you are turned on by someone, the mind is, and you can penetrate simply just by a small touch that seems shallow on surface. Or that, but the shallow is the access point to the depth. If I don't meet you in the outer realms, like I laugh with friends all the time and I say, can we just go back to like when we have these like raw explicit conversations and they tell me stuff about their bowel movements and about their sex lives, and I'm just like, and I definitely am not a TMI person, so I'm totally joking when I say it. But I'm just like, can we go back to the times when we just said, hi, oh, morning, okay, hi, okay, yeah, okay, cool. Like, and they're like, yeah, we long past those times.
Sometimes you can't even remember those times. Like just this morning, I was trying to remember, like, what on earth did me and my best friend talk about when we were really young? Like, we've been friends for over 2 decades. And I felt like before we spoke, we were friends. Because I used to see her, coming from school with her sister.
Speak about that, yes.
And I wouldn't speak to her, but I would just look at her and say, like, I really wanted to speak to her, but I didn't, because it's so funny. I thought they were twins. And I used to be so afraid to approach one twin when there are two of them, because I had twin cousins, and I used to, when we have sleepovers, I used to be like, can I sleep in the middle? And then they always wanted to be together. So I felt like the extra person, the outcast. And because of that, I thought they were twins, and I just never spoke to her because I'm like, oh no, she has a twin. And then one day I saw her by herself on a bus, and it started raining on one side of the bus, and the other side of the bus was completely dry. So I touched her, I'm like, hey girl, watch that. It's raining on that side and it's not raining on that side.
And that was the depth.
And from that day, we have been inseparable. I think I brought her to my house that same day, like when I met her on the bus and told her that we talked so much on the bus. I was like, you want to come up the hill by me? Because I've been like, eyeing her for years. Like, yeah, I want to talk to this girl, but what do I say?
That reminds me, this triggers a memory, and I'm gonna use the term positive triggering and positive trauma, because I think it's coming up a lot in my work this week, and I'm not going to elaborate on it too much, just to make the point that trauma means change in a very superficial, surface way, right? And trigger is a reminder, a nudge in a certain direction, and triggers are usually spoken about in a hurtful way, because a lot of triggers are hurtful, but there's also positive triggers and positive trauma, positive change, positive reminders, positive encouragers, and things that push us in the direction to heal well. And if you're around safe spaces where you can do that, then you are excited to be triggered and touched by someone who will lick your wounds in a way that heals them, and that you become that to yourself. So anyway, that triggers me to speak about my relationship with Chantal, which we spoke about in the first part of this, because I referenced it very briefly on the live when I said, this girl used to write her name in my book when we were not friends. I don't know if whoever caught that. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did.
There was a specific period of time where we were definitely not friends in school for years. We became friends in Form 5. like the end, and we became friends at the end of it all. And very quickly, in a very real way, I was from maybe end of form 4 into form 5. I can't remember exactly now, but the point is, the majority of the time we were not friends. We didn't say hi at all, and I was very angry with her when she wrote her boyfriend's name in my book. So, I was like, this, what up this girl? Like, what up to that girl, Gaza?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I always, as much as we were not friends, I always respected her for being such a raw individual. She was part of this group of other friends that I wasn't friends with. But there was always that connection for just the raw. I always saw the raw in her. There was something there. So then one day something happened, and she just came up to me and basically gave me her opinion on what was going on. And I guess I'm guessing she would have known how I had felt about it, because maybe she heard how I felt about whatever had happened. And I respected that. I respected her just coming up and just giving me the raw, like, this is how I feel about the same situation. And it was like, we just plunged into the depth from that moment, and we just always were like that from that moment. And to the point where, like we spoke about, I mean, you saw, the role I play in her family's life. And I'm saying it to say that if with the shallow and the depth, when you have been doing so much of your own depth work, life will just align you in the depth when the alignment is there to happen. And also you can seek it and go after it and take it, which is what she did. She just stressed that there was no bag along talking, right? Because we weren't enemies. We just respectfully weren't friends. So like it wasn't anything,
Yeah.
And so when the opportunity for integrity and a choice and a judgment call and a justice being expressed, when the opportunity rose, she just came up to me and was like, yo, Vel, like, this is what it is. And I was like, I bet. Bonafide. You choose me, I choose you back. We're good.
It's so funny when when that trigger happens, when you pull the trigger on, like, you know what, let me just see what I have to say here. Yeah.
And I want to even go further to say, I definitely judge people by it, because I know the love, even if I'm not your friend, and I'm talking about those high school days where we were learning our power dynamics, all of us, and people were being mean and catty and what they call catty, which is a very interesting thing to call when you look at Sekhmet and lion energy and an ability to take your power. So I'll throw that all up there, but when we were learning to exercise our power, and you look at integrity, and you look at, then you grow into womanhood, and you understand what it means to be a woman. It's one thing when you're a young girl and you seeking attention, want different things, learning your sensuality, learning your power, learning to take what's yours in the world, learning who your friends are, like trying yourself out in personality and all of that. It's another thing when you do cross that threshold of becoming a woman, and you realize how hard it is to be a woman, how dynamic it is, and you look at women who just cannot give the compassion and the honesty and just step up in integrity and just be honest about how much we're hurting each other and how much we don't have to participate in that nonsense, and how we would do so much better to just align and either mind our business or align.
Yeah, I think the one that really gets me is when women come at you and they're not even upfront about it. Like they want to make underhanded comments that they can just brush off and say, no, that's not what I really meant. That was just from a song. That was like, no, if you wanted to say something about me, just say it. You know what I mean? Just say it. I can be catty too,
And you don't want that. But, I promise you.
You don't want
that.
Like if you're saying something, say it. And I respect that. Like honestly, I respect people who don't like me and they can just say that this is what it is like.
Yeah. So I'm saying then specifically, you make a judgment. I make a judgment call on the integrity of the person, woman or man, and I'll go that far, because person, and it's important that we allow ourselves to be our highest. In sacred dialogue, I say our supreme court, our ruling, our validation, our empowerment. You're not going to wait for the police to tell you what you did or didn't do. If you know you did something, then you have to come clean to yourself and to life and accept. And if you know you didn't, same, you have to give the responsibilities where it's due. So there are along those journeys with female friendships. I mean, I guess we went on this tangent talking about the depth and the the shallow and the depth. So interesting to see what we're discussing here can seem so petty and shallow as people would, as we are coerced to bully ourselves, but these things matter and come into form and cause people contention throughout their whole life. When you don't stand by your own side and call a thing and be honest, where you see people that could have stood up by you, whether you were friends or not. That's why I bring the full circle of Chatal in. Whether you were friends or not, that's why I keep making that distinction. We weren't friends, but just the respect of the judgment call that had to be made, the calling the thing out, and this human standing up by my side, this human informing me of what was happening, and just matter of fact, like, this is what it is, and I don't agree with that. And I want you to know that I saw what happened there, and that's it. Facts. I'm just stating some facts. I saw what happened there, and I don't agree with it. And I want everybody, man, woman, and child, listening to know that you deserve that. We deserve that. We deserve to be stood up in our power for. We deserve to be, we deserve to be in spaces of belonging and ownership, of devotion. That I own my power of being your friend. You belong to me, and I take ownership of that. I take ownership of you. I take responsibility, because ownership, that coercion in the colonial has been an oppressive, dominating to destroy. But we need to trust ourselves enough to know that if you belong to me, you're so good. What's mine is yours. You're good. You're so large. Like, if you belong to me, if you're one of mine, if I take ownership of you, you will want for nothing. If I take ownership of you, you will want for nothing. Period. He has entered the building. On that note.
You tired? What are you doing?
Hey, Soleil, are we gonna raw?
You want to raw, baby boy? What you looking for?
What do you say, lion?
Baby boy, do you roll like a lion? You want to roll like a lion?
Don't look like it. No! Was it roar? Oh, he roared. Okay. Yay. I was like, okay, let's not break any consent here. Let's not coerce him.
Wow. You know, when you talk about like taking ownership and stuff, you tickling me. You tickling mommy? Come, let's sit down. You want to lay down? No? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Mommy? Yes, Soli. Oh, you like it? Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Look. Yes. To point my breast out to me. Sweet boy, what's that? Where's your rocket ship? I'm gonna go get it. It's so funny. So last week I had a nip slip, and so there was like, mommy, I see the titty. So I'm like, oops, and I put it back in. And he said, you close the titty? Why you close my titty?
Talk about ownership, right? Belonging.
Yeah, I just pointed it out. I didn't mean you had to put it away, like, you know. But ownership without feeling like you have to somehow justify it. Because I feel like in today's world, we always have to justify why somebody deserves our attention or our love. Like, people are quick to make you feel stupid for pouring love into somebody. Like, oh, you know, they like, we have such a culture of being a savage, or feeling like we have to get something before we're able to give. Like, oh, you know, that person not doing anything for me, so why should I give them my attention? Like, sometimes you just want somebody to love, like that song that I told you about. Like,
Yeah,
when I was finger combing Soleil's hair last night, like, it dawned on me that, like, he is, you know, one of the few people that I don't feel like anybody would ever want an explanation from me as to why I love him so much. No matter what he does or doesn't do, no matter where we are in our relationship or anything, like, I have no reason to make an excuse for the love that I give to him. It's completely unconditional, unapologetically. You know, that's my son. And when I think about, like, other people that I've given that sort of love to, there's these underlying feelings of guilt, like somebody's looking at me like, this person did not deserve the love that you gave to them. And why, if I just want to give love, like, it brings me joy to be able to give that love. Why do I need an excuse as to why I'm doing it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And in the justice and judgment and Supreme Court way calling it out, when you have those feelings of guilt, what you have is your somatic, your body's radar and your insights and your intel and your nerve system is picking up the broadcast of others' judgment, who you care about or cared about, and you're valuing their opinion in context in that moment over your own love, because that's the coercion that's the manipulation that we have been steeped in. So it's very important that you are, so even more than the coercion is your commitment to yourself to push through that and stand in your power of love. Stand by your love life and the way you share yourself consensually.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, growing up as a girl, we would get a lot of talks from other girls or from older women, like, oh, you know, basically you feel like you only allowed to give yourself to somebody if they marry you, put you in house, claim you as this and that. And it's like, can I just feel that for somebody without it being about all that other stuff, like without them owing me some sort of status in their lives? For me to do that.
And what is the answer?
The answer is that, well, for me, if I want to do it, I have every right to.
Yeah, so I'm saying somatically for the body, and now that you are a woman, answer the question for the little girl in you. Can I just do that? What's the answer?
Yes, absolutely. I can. I have like full permission to do that.
Absolutely. And there's a fear in that, because if all women are that, if all people are that powerful, if all if all receivers of energy and givers of energy, exchangers of energy and adoration are that comfortable in their power of penetrating love into spaces and being receptive to love and adoration from spaces, how powerful the world would be. How powerful would the world be if we were all secure in the way we truthfully give and exchange love? If we weren't insecure or shamed for the way we truthfully give and exchange love.
Yeah.
For the dynamic way, for the polyamorous way, for the one-pointed, what they call monogamous way. However, for the monogamous seasons and the polyamorous seasons, whatever the dynamics of your natural way of giving, what kind of giver and initiator are you, and what kind of receptor and receiver are you? And just allowing yourself to answer that question at every subtle stage and season of life.
Yeah. Even I want to add the unrequited way as well.
Okay, I like that. Go there.
For me, no, honestly, it's the biggest
yes,
one.
I know that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to elaborate on that, or you want to just leave that?
I think I'm good with just the acknowledgement.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That is what I explained to that person I was telling you all about this week. That's what I experienced and explained to them from my past love, and what was happening in real time with him and I this week. And so much honor in the unrequited attention. So again, that's I don't like, I don't even like the concept of unrequited, but because it's not really unrequited. What it is it's not the same. It's not, and it can't be the same. You don't want it to be the same. You want it, that's the coercion. You don't want the same, like, okay, I give you this cup of tea, now give it back to me. What's the point? I made you a cup of tea, drink a cup of tea, it's yours. I don't want it back. I'm not reproaching you for the cup of tea that I've given you, for the love that I'm giving you. I want love the way you love from you. And if the way you love looks like this, that's what it's about. And it's funny, I remember, I tell this story so often. My past recent love, when we first started, one day we were out and he said something, and my face dropped, and he was like, what happened to you? And I was like, he was like, I didn't say anything. I felt bad, and he was like, what are you doing there? What? Don't do that. And I was like, don't do what? And he was like, that thing that women just teach each other to do, this reciprocation thing that you'll do at us. Like, don't do that. Like, you're treating me like I'm not reciprocating the love. I'm loving you the way I love you. This is the way I love. You're loving me and I am loving you. And this is what my love looks like. And I was like, oh God, I'm going to love him forever. Shit. And it was a lot for me, because what his love looked like was a lot of what I didn't realize I needed, in one way, but was not enough for what I really needed based on how malnourished I was. And it wasn't that he was not enough. It was that it was not enough for what I needed, for how depleted I was. And finding that balance of loving the way he loves and owning I needed more was a big journey for me. And so it wasn't it was contextually unrequited, because what I thought I wanted out of that relationship was never gotten. What I got out of that relationship, no one ever taught me I needed, and oh my God, I'm so thankful for that relationship.
Yeah.
And that was the beauty of it. It was that idea that if we're making lemonade, that if you bring lemon, like he said, if we're making lemonade and you bring lemons, I'm not gonna bring lemons too. I'm gonna bring water or sugar, and life is gonna give us the jar, and together you, me, and life are going to make lemonade. I can't this is not what reciprocity looks like. Reciprocity is not me
Yeah.
giving you what you give me. Reciprocity is me giving you who I really am. So yeah, my there's a part of my heart that's always going to be stuck there. No lie, love him. It just the siren just turned on like, we're gonna be here forever. Oh, red alert, red alert. This man has us. Shit. And yay.
It's awesome, like when you realize it, because I was actually reading, did I read that somewhere, or was it a meme? I don't know, but I saw something somewhere this week saying that, people change so much over the course of a relationship that if you're going to be with somebody forever, you have to be committed to being with like all different types of them and all different phases of them.
And that's polyamory inside of monogamy. Can we talk about that? But continue. The shallow and the deep.
True. It's true.
Megan Thee Stallion talks about it too. Like, if you want all of me, you're gonna get there are many different me's inside of this woman. Hey, which one you want today? I'm gonna show up. Which one you want? You want the super freak? You want me to pray? You want me to light some sage? You want me to cook? You want me to what you want me to do? What you need?
Yeah. And even to ourselves too. Like I need a different version of me every day. Absolutely. I need a different version of me.
That's what the sacred dialogue wheel is all about, right? All the different parts of the self.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, we're doing that. We're doing this.
Yeah.
I love that. So thank you so much. I mean, I know you said you were leaving it there, but it meant a lot to me. It was a big culmination for me. The places that I've gotten to in the last 8-9 years with the notion of unrequited love. Even I want to even go further and share something else. Unless you had something, did you? Because I'm just like,
no, you go ahead.
So 2 years ago, I went to the wedding of someone I loved for 7 years, and the human love journey, like I was in the place where I was ready to be his best man, and I was in the place where I realized that that's what life had been training us for our whole life. It was training for where he was with his family, his life. I'm the best human. Like, I'm the person who knows him in a very specific way. And sure, that kind of intimacy wasn't there for us. But we got a unique opportunity to learn the people that we really were and what we really needed out of life. And she was what he really needed out of life, not me. And the maturity that I knew I had, but the grace that life would give me an opportunity to be like, people have been doubting you and your love and the way you love for a very long time. You want to go to the wedding? Like, okay, like, yeah. And to be able to dance at his wedding, to be able to meet his wife, to be able to see what the journey of love really looks like, what the conditions, I call in sacred dialogue, the unconditionals, what the unconditionals, the actual criteria of loving someone unconditionally looks like. Because if we both really want us to be happy, and we realize how different we really are, don't hold on to this kind of intimacy. Why are you limiting yourself to this kind of intimacy when you can have a lifetime of something else? And don't you know, self to self, don't you know that there are, if it's not him, like, oh my gosh, then who's it gonna be?
Yeah.
Because you could love somebody so much, and this is how far you get, and have so much honor and respect for someone, and this is how far you get. Wow, like whoever it is that is for me, like whatever trials and love navigation he is going through, like life is like cultivating and molding this person full of life experience and love experience, and all the people that he's loving right now, all the women that still need his love and attention right now, and the season that he's coming out of. Like, why would you want someone before they're come out of their season? You don't want that. You don't want some premature force ripe banana. Literally, that tastes chalky. You don't want that.
Yeah. Even as you do.
So my partner's banana is ripening. I'm gonna create a hashtag for that, for sacred dialogue.
Or his macaboo.
Say again.
I said, or his plantain, or his macaboo.
Now, let's talk the real, right? So I guess it's really macaboo, right? Let's, like, to be honest, it's not banana, because that's too small. It's not plantain, because that's quite big, like quite big physiologically. So it's more of a macaboo you're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Macaboo.
That's the hashtag. Okay, we'll have to figure that one out. Oh my goodness, that'll be for our erotic resolve. Yeah, okay, love that.
Yeah. You know, macaboo is when it's not ripe, like.
Yeah, let's not force ripe ourselves and each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we let's not do that to ourselves. Let's not dishonor the process.
I think that's probably where I was at when I said unrequited, you know. I feel like it's
just now. Let me just say, when I said what I said about the unrequited and me not being comfortable with it, just let me say I'm just speaking about connotatively, like how it's seen, how unrequited love is like so shaming, the concept of it. That's what I mean. I don't mean any, like, correction to that. I'm just saying, yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I was just saying that what you just said added context to it for me as far as unrequited goes.
Right.
Because it's funny, like I keep seeing these viral tweets talking about I can't go through another talking stage. Like, people get so comfortable with being deep in a relationship that they don't want to leave because they don't want to go through the shallow part of a new relationship. They don't want to get to know a new person. And sometimes with the same person, we have to go back to that place. And for me, it's like me learning to be okay with going back there as many times as it takes, because it's not time yet, it's not ripe yet, you know?
When we spoke about it sexually, right? We talk about it sexually, just make it so much easier, which is how we came through the portal of earth, right? How we continue coming every day, how we continually coming into that, or coming into yourself, coming home to yourself, coming to yourself, coming with yourself, capital S, self to self, and self with other, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to lick me again there? And also, you've never licked me there before in this way.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh well, we already did that, let's not do it again. No, it's like every day it's a spiral up. It's never been done. It's never been done this way before. In this way, you've never come at me and come with me and come together in this way with this level of maturity from this vantage point. You've had a whole day of life experience. You've had a whole moment of life experience, because I canceled our session, and then I allowed myself to fully experience the self-love of value, and I have to cancel that session, knowing it was a safe place to cancel, and then feel it through and then go, no, just delete all the messages. You know, and just think of how we are so trained to not give that love to the intimate partner, but we can do it with friends, right? Like if it was a guy and I had a meeting with him, like a guy that I'm liking, and then I delete it, and then I go back and I take it out, I send all these messages, and then I delete all of them, like how it go look, right? Like, oh boy, I look insecure, like something's wrong with me, like flustered, freaking out.
I do it all the time.
All the time. Yeah, and that's how you will know them, right? That's how you will know internally the comfort of the masculine and the feminine within you and within them, male and female lovers, all sorts, all along the spectrum, person, human, in that, don't you fluctuate? Don't you think and think again? Don't you change your mind with integrity? Don't you have one thought and then another? Is this a safe space for you to change your mind? Is this a safe space for you to not love me one moment and then love me another in a specific way? Like, yes, it is. Is this can't she penetrate and he receive? Yes.
Yeah.
Are you the one in a relationship who is in a space of yin right now? Are you the one in the relationship who needs to be given to, male or female? Are you the one who's been providing and now needs some provisions made for?
Yeah.
So to men, like, we want you to know that you deserve women who have made provisions for you to be loved and adored. And to women, the same. And to women who are initiators, you deserve partners of all sorts who enjoy the way you come at them and pursue. Because that's, for me, I've been shamed a lot into that in my youth, like being an initiator. Like, men don't like that. Okay, men, right? Men across the board, like no human, like, so God make me alone by myself that way. Like, like, okay. You were made to not be liked. That's the messaging. And it's taken so much to break. I mean, I've stepped up to the battlefield every time, but the point is, it was a battlefield, and I'm been tired of that.
I've had moments where, like, I remember there was this one guy that I was seeing, and he would always tell me, oh, you're such a charmer, like, and I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, you just charm people. And I kept saying, no, I don't, because I kept feeling like, what do you mean? Like, is that a judgment that I'm just charming people? Like, I felt like he was trying to, like, call me manipulative or something, when it really wasn't that, you know? And I've recognized things about myself that I do, which might be what he was talking about. I do this thing where I make eye contact with people. Like, I will not initiate the contact with you, but I will initiate eye contact to let you know that you should initiate contact with me. And I do that a lot. Like, I feel like I've gotten through life that way. But I felt almost like defensive about him saying that I'm charming or that I'm a charmer. And then I had to come to terms with, like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm a charmer. Like, what's wrong with that? You know?
Yeah.
That's it. It comes naturally. I don't put it on. You know?
Oh, I love that. So I love it comes naturally, like it comes out, up and out of you, from you, through you, for you, broadcasting and boomeranging back to you and emitting and reverberating out of you. I love that. I love charm, as in, you know, I'm going to go sacred dialogue in on it, right? Make love to the word. So I love the charm and the love spell, the devotional spell that you are. You are a charm, that you are like a talisman as well, like a lucky charm that you have to just rub on you. Okay. Please rub on me.
Charmed by several of my men, like.
Please just rub my lamp. So I love that. I love charm as in, I love it as in manipulation too, as a researcher, right? Talking about science, and search as in researching, to look again and again, to look at, to recognize, to recognize, to look at, to give attention to. That's what it is. You give attention to people in a way that a lot of people don't take ownership of the attention that people deserve, but you take ownership of the attention, so it'll be felt. If I'm paying attention to you, you'll know. If I like you, you'll know. Trust me, if I like you, you'll know, because if I am paying attention to nothing I don't have no interest in.
Right.
Okay. So if I'm paying attention to you, you know I'm paying attention to you. Period. It's clear. You don't have to wonder. Nobody wonder if I like you. If I have not made it clear to you that I like you, don't need to wonder. I don't like you.
Yeah.
Okay. Like in context, we're talking about in that kind of specific context. Now,
yeah.
Manipulation, again, that's why I always ask people to look at the etymology and the roots of words, and how the English language and the oppressive entities that manage and govern the English language have purposefully created and caused spaces where we use these words to hurt ourselves and each other. So to manipulate now means to oppress, but to manipulate means to see your power to change and transform and to alchemize, and to put a spell on me and I put a spell back on you, to speak love spells to each other, of each other, just by connection through eyesight, to look upon you, for me to incite you and for you to incite me. I want that. Please charm me. Please be enchanted by me, and me enchanted by you. And that's the world, that's the worlds and the realms of reality that we are creating. And if everybody was able to do that, the more of us that are able to do that, and the higher acceleration of us able to do that, that's what breaks the curse spells, the hexes, the self-esteem blockages, the patterns of perpetration that have been put on all of our peoples, of the indigenous human divine being, period, across the board. Indigenous as in from whence you came, from that offspring space, from the space where conception wanted you here, right? I'm not talking about black or white or ethnic by the way we think about race. Talking about being human, being humanly divine, being light in manifested form. When we can all tap into what our charm is, there's no need for jealousy. Your charm in sync with my charm, isn't that what you want? Because my charm and your charm are very different. But when you see our charms align, when our powers combine, Captain Cosmos, Captain Planet, Captain Universe, Captain, take me to school and teach me a thing or two about life. Let me see you make love to life. I don't know, that's how you do that? Let me see him put that into my hot, wet cauldron and mix that around. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's why I don't seek like partners who do life exactly the way I do. Because one thing I've noticed from very young is that when I've interacted with somebody in that way, I actually begin I actually begin to like pick up on certain characteristics of theirs, things that I have admired about them. I walk away from the relationship with that in my arsenal, you know? And if you have everything I have, then what are we exchanging? So like, what are we exchanging? What are we mixing? Like you said, why would we mix lemon and lemon, you know?
Yeah.
Mr. Lemon. No, thank you. No, thank you, baby. Come, let's get the rocket ship.
Yeah.
Go fly your rocket. You wanna go fly it?
Tapping into your charm. I love that. That's what I'm taking from this hour that we're coming up on. I'm taking that from this part of the talk is allowing yourself bringing it to the beginning and bringing it full circle. It's allowing yourself to tap into your shallow, superficial entry points to get into the depth of the ocean, like walk along the sand, walk into along the beach into the sand. Let the water lick your toes, your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your center regions, your creation center, your navel, your chest, your heart, your throat, like submerge your crown and walk all the way to the horizon, and then sit and in awe of yourself at your ability to navigate the shallow and the depth of being and relating to and through life with lovers, and tapping into the depth and the surface power of your charm. Just a touch, not even a penetration yet, just a touch. Just by thinking of me, your life changes. Don't play yourself. Yeah, enjoy that.
Yeah.
You could have passed through this whole lifetime and never knew I existed upon the earth, but you do, because I utilize my relationship with you in that way. Everybody, when something happens to us and you remember him, that past lover, and you know that's how he would do that, you call upon him spiritually, ethereally, you say, yo, that's what he would do. And life has allowed you to see, to meet and merge with men in a way that you understand the way they penetrate a space, and you're like, yo, that's how he would do that. Or another female, whether older or younger, or a child, and you go, yo, this person brings so much joy, light, and insight into the space. What would they do? And you can hold a whole conversation with that person in your mind, even if you're not talking again, because that's the charm. You've met them in their depth, and you've met them in their charm, and life has granted you the grace of seeing them navigate space and time, right? And I always say, I sing that song when I get to that area. I sing the line of Speechless by Michael. I'm humbled in your grace. You know, that's the people who have that's when you meet the charm in someone. So I'm so thankful that you have healed the concept of charm with yourself, and that you accept the gift that person was honoring and acknowledging in you, and you've grown to appreciate and amplify your charm. So thank you. Bringing it full circle from part one, when I was just entering by giving thanks to you for your life and saying happy birthday season to you and to us as we sit on our rock in the middle of the ocean. And you, highlights of this second part?
Wow, you said in the middle of the ocean. I heard in the middle of devotion. Yes. Definitely my highlights, appreciating however much time we spend in the shallow end before we enter the depth. You know, sometimes you stand in the water for so long before you submerge. And there's a lot that happens in that time. You're not just standing there. So appreciating that, appreciating the way that we love, honoring the way that we love, acknowledging it for what it is, and the unconditional nature of it, unapologetically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious. This was very good breakfast for me.
Yeah.
I am ingesting this very well, and life is indeed delicious and nutritious to digest. Your life is, and you are easy to love. I do mean that you specifically, and I mean that to listeners, and I mean that to myself. And that's specifically a journey that I have taken myself on through, as we started talking about in my rape trauma spaces, to learn that the way I love is wonderful, that I'm not too much, that I'm not too sensitive just because I see raw and explicit and and I express raw in the way that I do. Yeah, so this was good intercoursing. This was vital intercoursing. Thank you so much for us. He's making himself known. He's ready. We've taken a lot of his time.
Yeah, he's ready to go for his alphabet.
Okay, ma'am. All right, well, we will end.
Come, let's say bye-bye.
Say, oh my,
Oh, he's alphabets. That's what's happening.
And he's gone.
He's like, come on, wrap it up. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's go. Production, steal. It's a wrap.
Yeah, I enjoyed today.
Same.
And moving forward, giving myself permission to love the way I love,
Yeah, and to
and trusting
acknowledge the
that
power of it.
yeah, and trusting that it will show up where it's needed, not where it's not,
Absolutely, absolutely. And give thanks for the maturity that we got the grace to live long enough to be humbled in our own grace and to see how much grace we have shown up to life with and through, and where the anguish was worth it, and where we have like squeezed the essence of ourselves and let ourselves, like you with the teats of a cow, we've milked ourselves for what we are worth, and we have this potent essence, and we administer ourselves to ourselves and others as an elixir of devotion. Yeah. Slurp that. You want to slurp up my elixir of devotion? Sure. Sorry, say again. We were talking at the same time.
I said they're coming back behind me.
Oh yeah, okay, bye. Later, honey.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.